Bring the leg up, but people go different ways and people attack in different ways. There's, you know, with all the go-go clinch stuff and the two things, and there's just so much. There's so much going on, and when you're trying to learn it, you might get hit with, you know, different variations of the rubber guard and maybe not grasp one and kind of just give up on it. All right. So what I put together, I put together a flow. I put together 8 flows. That are they're just permanent. Might have some little tweaks. We might alter them here and there and do variations, but it's the main, Jiu-Jitsu is a bunch of stuff. She needs both frames. So my hip is constantly just smashing this frame at the wrist just to kill that frame. So however you pass, getting to flat mode immediately, like if you flip over, you got to just go boom right here and it's secure the pass. Bollinger break, that's the best one. I mean, arm crush is huge. You put arm crush and Bollinger break, you just put 10,000 reps into those two. That's all you really need. There's a bunch of other, you know, boogie break, that's a great one. X break, that's a great one. There's 10 different ways to get that arm out. But in my opinion, if I was gonna leave you one, that Bollinger break, that's the best one.
What is up, ladies and gents? I know, it's a little early to see us. You expect to see us on Fridays, but I got news for you guys. Today, we're doing a special episode for our friends over at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. They're putting together an incredible week of events. You heard me right. Not just days, multiple days worth of entertainment, and that felt like a good enough reason for us here at the show to go ahead and talk about our friends over at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. And joining me today, longtime friend of the show, you know him, you love him, at least I hope you do, our good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing today, good sir?
Hey, Raph, I'm doing fantastic. What an insane... Don't judge. They're like, why are the lights? An insane weekend of jiu-jitsu coming up, and something like this, just from watching the intro, something like this can only come from Eddie Bravo. The cut to the seminar where he's talking about this move and that move, he's saying as if you should know that, and it's been around 1,000 years. He's so deep into what he's doing with jiu-jitsu and with no-gi jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu overdose. Only he could bring us something like this. I can't wait. It's going to be a great night, and it's kicking off on a Thursday night, man. That's rad.
Does that feel weird to you? Does it feel odd to be doing this on a Thursday?
A little bit. Thursday's like the night where you get everything together for Friday. You know, that's the night when you're getting your prep in, and you're like, okay, Friday's the day. We're going to do the show. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, Eddie slipped one in early, man. Thursday night jiu-jitsu. It's last 2 weeks we've had it on Thursday night, actually, so maybe it's a trend.
gotten used to it a little bit, and just so you guys know, Kevin Sherrill, unavailable to do today's show. Unfortunately, he does have to teach, but he is with us in spirit. And shout out to our friends over at the Daily Stack who said, we live. Yes, we very much are. And the show for Jiu Jitsu Overdose will actually kick off today at 3 p.m. Best Coast time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I think Isaac was telling me that Jiu Jitsu just doesn't adhere to time zones. Listen, I'm Mexican, and I should know this, and I do not. So they, in theory, are a place with lawless time. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to run perfectly on time. In my experience, it may be a little late, but it will be well worth the wait.
I would agree to that. And today we're doing things a little bit different. So obviously we're talking about Jiu Jitsu Overdose, and there are a few emerging themes that we did want to talk about, but I thought it would actually be best to try and get people into the idea of what they're seeing. So normally we do a board. Today we're doing it a little bit different because you might want to know what you're in for today's programming. So we're going to start with this. We're going to start with today's programming, and then we're just going to lightly preview what you could expect from the rest of the week. But what you saw a little bit earlier in that pre-package was Eddie was doing a seminar. That's not all they're doing. They have a multiple group of seminars that are happening. I believe Gio's doing a seminar. I believe Jean-Jacques is out there. So I think that's a whole series of seminars that they're doing, or that they might have done yesterday or earlier today. But the rest of the week is going to include one event per day. Today is a qualifiers day, and we're going to show you who is involved in the qualifiers. Now, you may not know these people, but that's the whole reason that we do the qualifiers. They're out there to actually show some of the best talent in Mexico and give you a slight idea. But tomorrow, on Friday, they'll be doing a Medusa event. Then there's going to be EBI on Saturday. And of course, we'll see a conclusion with Combat Jiu-Jitsu. So Tim, given all of those informations, all of those things that you were told, what is it that you expect from this insane weekend, sir?
I expect, and those names you mentioned, fantastic, in terms of the events. And if you look at the card, and we're going to see the qualifiers tonight, a lot of guys on these cards were qualifiers at one time. So you're going to be seeing a fresh new batch of jiu-jitsu stars out of Mexico, many of who we may not have seen yet. So I'm super excited to see that. On top of that, Medusa's coming up tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic event. And Saturday, we get to see young Jet Thompson in EBI, and I am super looking forward to seeing how he does. And then Sunday, we got the championships. Nate Orchard's in one of those brackets, man. I love watching Nate Orchard slap people. I love his martial arts style. I can't wait to watch it. So I'm expecting fireworks. I think everyone's going to bring it. These marquee jiu-jitsu stuff now, like these athletes are starting to pay attention, and you're starting to see the same names show up on a lot of these events. I think they're going to bring it.
You bring up some good points, and I do have a note here. So we actually have a crew that is down at EBI Combat Jiu-Jitsu headquarters. So for Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, we will have some interviews a little bit later throughout the week. So you guys kind of want to stay on your toes because there may be extra episodes this week that you were not expecting. So we will try to do a pre-show throughout the rest of the week so we can give you guys the best of what's happening out in Mexico, along with maybe some interviews from some of the athletes that you are seeing out there. So stay tuned for that. But I actually thought it would be a good exercise to maybe show you guys what we're looking at in the bracket for today. So without any further ado, check this out. All right, so this is the bracket that we have going on. Now, I want you to be very, very clear about the difference between the brackets, because you might just see one. This is sometimes like a magic eye where you get to stare at it a little bit and you're like, oh my God, Waldo was there the whole time. Didn't even know. For this one, there's actually two brackets here. There is a lightweight champion and a welterweight champion. Now, it is my understanding that the lightweight championship, whoever wins today, will be going over to CJJ on Sunday, and that the welterweight champion is going to EBI on Saturday. I could be wrong. However, I just want to make sure that we're clear that this is two separate brackets, not one. Very easy to confuse the two. But nonetheless, Tim, in looking at this, just be honest. How many of these people do you know?
Oh man, I feel like I don't know any of these guys, man.
And you would
I
think that's
feel
a
like
bad
maybe I've
thing.
seen a couple of them, but no.
They may look familiar to you, but I actually think that is one of the pros of the event is that when we see this talent, this is local talent out there in Cancun, Mexico. So you're seeing a lot more of the Mexican talent. And I like the fact that you've seen the UFC do this with China and you've seen them do it in different regions where they say like, hey, maybe we don't see enough of you guys. Why don't we put a hub out in that area and get your talent so that they can be displayed on these cards? Because a long time ago, I don't know if people remember this, the big knock against all of the things for EBI or combat jiu-jitsu is it's be like, oh, I've seen this guy before. Oh, this dude's been on here before. This is cool to get to know a whole different breed of grapplers that I think will be taking us very far in terms of getting to know people. So today, if you'll look at here, we do get some inside knowledge, and this comes from the Daily Stack himself, and it says, Rios is solid. Rolled with him and Carlos. So, normally, Isaac, these are like, we do this anonymously to say anonymous tips about them, but I like the fact
Right.
that you are giving these things freely and letting them know who you are. And it says, last night, super solid guys, some favorites. Listen, I love hearing that because, again, it's an educational experience for a lot of us. So you guys are hearing it first. You've already seen that Rios is going to be somebody. I mean, that's the reason why he looks like he's number one seated over on this side. And then hearing a little bit about Carlos helps us to understand, like, the number one seeds will likely be the people to look for, but everybody else here, I can tell you this. I don't know how many people know these individuals, so it's a learning exercise for all of us. So I would say this, Tim. Take out Mauricio Rios and take out Carlos Carvalho, and I'll ask you, just take a blind pick. Let's see how good we are at just blind picking two people. Because the reason I asked you if you recognize these people is that you've been doing this as long as I have. We
Yeah.
are not new to this game. It doesn't mean we can't be surprised, but we pay attention pretty hard. So if we don't know who they are, it stands that maybe not everybody knows who they are. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, Tim. I want you to pick one random name in each of these classes, and that is going to be the person. That's your ride or die for today's qualifiers.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna ride or die with Andy Granados, and I'm gonna ride or die. Oh man, Jan Fernandez has got his eyes closed almost. I can't go with that. I'm gonna ride or die with Osvaldo Rivas.
Okay, so on the bottom side, I'll like walk you through my issue. There's a Rafael, and I always have to go for the Rafael, but the Rafael is his last name, which is entirely baffling to me. But then there's also a Jesus, and I always try to go for the Jesus if I can. So I feel like Rafael's going to beat Jesus, at least on this side. But why is Irvin the one with the MMA photo? Am I supposed to know him from MMA? Because all these other dudes have the rash guards on. That looks like a fight photo. So I'm wondering if Irvin's going to show out tonight. But Renee looks like somebody I don't trust. Like that little pose on him is like, I got away with something and nobody else knows it. So
Yeah.
who did you opt
Looks
for?
like I popped for Granados and Osvaldo Rivas. Rene Salgado looks like an F1 driver. He looks like he's got that kind of air about him.
Sao Caballero, he actually looks like the dude who would probably be helping me on an IT call.
Right.
Be like, hey, Grandpa, do you know how to turn on your TV? And then Jan Fernandez, 100% is going to be a interpreter in the future UFC. So I just want to point those out. Actually, now that I'm looking at you, Miguel Guerrero, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying here. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Irvin on the top and Rafael on the bottom. So those are going to be my ride or dies. I know nothing about them other than their photos. And I feel like that's the right thing to do. You know, we talk about racial profiling be bad, but, you know, Photo profiling, not much different, and that's what we're doing here on the show.
Hey, can I cut in real quick?
Please.
Yeah, I actually thought I heeded your warning and I didn't. I see the error of my way. I picked two guys in the same bracket. That's how lame I am. I'm gonna switch up my Oswaldo Rivas pick to I'm gonna go with Salgado.
Salgado, okay.
Yeah, Salgado and Granados.
But like, if we just look at this, he just looks disgusted at some life choice you've made in your life.
Yeah, he's not judging himself; he's judging you.
Just it's a rare thing to get this upshot that's like it is a unique
one,
shot, and they definitely got that one. So kudos to him for that. I would tell you this. You'll see that over here. You've got this, and I love the fact that they get crowns. So they made sure that they did this. But that actually does lead me to another thing that we should probably be talking about here, Tim, while I still have this bracket up. I'm going to take this one off, and I feel like I should explain myself because some people, there's supposed to be a big reveal here on the show today. There was supposed to be hey, everybody, we've got some big news to announce. And wouldn't you know it, somebody might have kind of screwed that up. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about here, Tim?
Yeah, but I screwed up the screw up, so that's why I was giggling. So, but yeah.
All right. Well,
I'll let you explain it.
Thank you. Here is the big reveal for everybody. This is the Running the Gauntlet, which is a subcategory of the show that we do here for the Grappling Hour. This is a sub-tournament, so we have an extra show that we do where we have a lot of people go up against each other. This was sent to our private group, and then somebody decided it needed to be shared with everybody, and that somebody is our very own Kevin Sherrill, which begs the question, why do you think he felt it was okay to tell everybody who was on the bracket, Tim?
Either he didn't know what the bracket was, or he wanted to brag that he was in the bracket. That's the only thing I could figure out. Now, on my foul was that when I saw he posted it, I reposted it. Because I was like, oh, support Kevin. Now I'm going to actually have to pay a little closer attention to what he's putting out.
The issue is not that you were doing anything wrong, because not expect that from Kevin as much. Because from Kevin, this was actually quite planned. So let me go ahead and bring this back up here, Tim. I'm going to walk you through some of these, but I wanted to have the bracket on hand before I go back to the full screen. So let me ask your opinion. You were matched up against Kevin Sherrill in the first round. How do you feel about your chances knowing that the first two rounds are fan vote only?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I have a good chance. I think that I definitely have a fighting chance, but Kevin's younger. He tries to be charming. He's not that smart, but he tries to pull that off. He buttons up and all that kind of stuff. But he hits old people. So don't vote for Kevin. Vote for me. Just go for me. Out with his bullcrap. Just bring me in. But I don't know. I think he has a chance. But I think I have a good chance, man. I've been around for a minute. I have a lot of content out there. Now, I will say this. He probably has a stronger episode than me because you'll have one episode to judge off of when you come to Kevin. With me, I'm all over the place, so it's a little trickier.
I understand that, but let's take a look at this publish here. So if we go to this full screen version of everything, just give me your initial thoughts on the bracket as a whole, because, this wasn't necessarily an athletic competition, but Chris Wojcik was like, how did you give me Elijah Dorsey in my first round? And I'm thinking to myself, you don't have to fight him, actually. When he said I have to fight Elijah Dorsey, and I go, well, you fight with words? And we're not even at the words portion. We're at the people need to vote for you portion. So why don't you walk me through your thoughts on this initial bracket here, sir?
That right-hand bracket is a tough bracket. It really is. I wouldn't want to go up against Chris Wojcik first. He's too well spoken and thoughtful and intellectual, and he actually writes. He's probably pretty hard to beat in terms of people really enjoying those episodes with him. When it comes to me and Kevin, that's a toss up. I love everybody. Kevin's my partner. May the best man win. Fernando Padilla or Padilla. No, that's Padilla, I'm assuming. And Cam Hurd. Cam is an energetic guy, man. He's got charisma. He's rizzed up all the time. He's going to be hard to beat for anybody. And he knows how to speak to the youth and to the streets and also to like the man, so he's going to be hard to beat. Travis Thomas versus Paul Ardilla is probably the hardest match to predict because Paul's very well spoken. He's very charismatic. But Travis is his own freaking vibe, his own thing, and he says some really great stuff too. So I'm actually glad I'm going up against Kevin. I think Kevin's the easy match. I think he's the rest round.
Wow.
Yeah, I really do.
Wow. Now I see why Kevin had to share this so early. It's that he was scared. I think he was nervous that you take away the ability to jiu-jitsu. Fact that you and Paul potentially would go head-to-head with each other. So here's how it works.
Oof.
The first 2 rounds are actually just by fan votes. But once we get to the semifinals, we will have 2 episodes that we do with the individuals at hand. So the left semifinalists will appear on the show, and they'll go head-to-head against each other on our version of Running the Gauntlet, which is a show that combines jiu-jitsu and pop culture. And then on the right-hand side, those 2 semifinalists will go up against each other for the opportunity to win this year's Running the Gauntlet Championship. Now, I feel excited about it. I feel happy about it. This was something that the athletes said to me in confidence. They're like, oh, if we ever did a head-to-head, I'd go up against somebody. And maybe 1 or 2 of those athletes didn't reshare this. So I ask you, Tim, are they scared?
Probably not. These guys don't have small-sized egos. They all have pretty big egos, to be honest with you. But they might start getting scared when they don't get past the first round. I could see some guys feeling kind of salty then and going like, oh, what about me, man? Like, how could you do that? I'm way more cool than him. But yeah, I guess it's kind of a popularity thing in the beginning. But yeah, I'm scared. I don't want to lose to Kevin Sherrill. That's not going to be fun.
I think the weird part for both of you is the thought of losing is already like not fun, but the thought of losing by something that you can't control probably feels all the worse. Like thinking like, I could stand if I wasn't better at jiu-jitsu than him maybe, but if you're trying to tell me that I would lose to this dude, would I have no recourse for it? I feel like that's a little bit more unfair.
Yeah, and on the show, whoever loses is going to be the biggest loser on this show because you're the fantasy champion. Mm-hmm. That person will at least have defeated the other person. Maybe this is the championship between Kevin and I right now.
Wow.
Intercontinental.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
This is the Intercontinental Championship right here. It's not the heavyweight, it's Intercontinental, dude. The other guy's gonna be the jobber. He's not gonna be the freaking guy, dude. So
I love the fact that you have made this into the workhorse champion versus that. And I just saw here there was a 40-second sub by Rios that just kicked it off. Thank you for the reminder here. Wow, that was incredible, Isaac. Appreciate that. Folks, I think that's a good time to remind everybody we will be stepping off here in just a second, but the action has started. So we were hoping to just hand off the action, and it looked like they were doing some introductions, but they got straight to the action while we were looking at the bracket. So congratulations to Rios, looking good as he was predicted here on the show by our good pal Isaac. Good stuff here. Tim, I'll ask you this. You're not able to be on tomorrow's show. I appreciate you for letting us know, but what do you expect from tomorrow's Medusa? If I could get some of your thoughts on that, because that stands to be a pretty intense and crazy show into itself.
Yeah, the Medusa events have always been really top notch, and I think there's just not a lot of outlets like this or platforms like this for the females right now, and we're starting to see this even from the very first Medusa. So I think it's going to be a banger. There's some names in here that I'm a little familiar with, and there's a few that I'm not. But Medusa's combat jiu-jitsu, so they're going to be throwing strikes. Everybody's better at that now. So you should expect to see a big name emerge off that. And, they're going to be the leader of the featherweights at that point, which is pretty dope. So I was trying to get my Stockton instructor, Bree Stick, in there, but she wasn't able to get in this time. But for sure, she would have taken it home, man. I'm positive.
And, I'm going to throw a few names at you right now because I know it's hard to piece this together. I haven't seen the bracket for that appear just yet, Tim. But if I were to throw the following names at you, you tell me your first response. So let's just do one-word reactions, okay?
Okay.
Lauren Sears.
Very good.
One word.
Exceptional.
Jade Rebeldo.
One word. Fast.
Amy Derwans.
Cautious.
Carrie Isom.
Dangerous.
Randy Miley.
Clever.
Celine Haga.
Ferocious.
Valerie Wong.
Thinking of this one. It is tenacious.
Katie Bochenek.
Favorite.
Paola Gutierrez.
Spicy.
Cholena Horn.
Energetic.
Aislinn O'Connell.
Irish.
Kaya Jackson.
Champ.
Yasmin Martinez.
Expert.
Okay. All right. Honestly,
That's hard.
I'm going to be honest. I think I just stumbled into a new broadcast segment for us. I think I'm super into whatever that was. It took me a second to kind of get that one together. But once we had it, I just thought, there's no going back now, Tim. This shit is way too funny for me not to do it in the future because it renders you down to one thing to say. And you might be like, oh, good, fantastic, also good. Damn. Ridiculous good.
Listen, here's the thing. I don't want to be rude or mean to anybody who's going out there and competing tomorrow, especially someone I don't know. I had lots of humorous things that I thought I was going to say, and I'm like, that's not going to work, Freeman. So that's actually much harder to say nice things about everybody than to say sarcastic things or whatever pops off in your head. That was fun. Very stressful though. And I felt you go into, some Family Feud-ish style thing where I was starting to stress a little bit as those names kept coming. That was fun, man.
I will tell you this. Most people have never had the experience of being on a game show. And when you are on a game show, your brain does somehow go somewhere else. You might be fairly smart, but they may ask you a question that you go, oh my God, I was just game testing for a friend about a week ago. And I swear to God, Tim, I was like, huh? To a very basic question. And they have it on video now. And I thought to myself, I know this is all internal and that I'm helping a friend, but if this got out, I don't think it would ruin me. I think people know I'm not smart in that way. But it will say it did redeem itself when the next category had to do with pro wrestling. And I swear to you,
Oh.
I looked like the biggest genius in the world. And then even acknowledge the question and talk to the people and go, hey, by the way, this is this. And this is very close to actually being a separate answer. So I would change that one. They were like, damn, he's annoying. I was like, well, you know, listen, I don't know everything about everything, especially your dumb science questions or questions about certain charcuterie, if you would. But I'm pretty good at knowing the pro wrestling thing.
Oh,
So anyway,
yeah.
Tim, why don't you go ahead and
awesome.
plug your stuff before we get you on out of here, sir, and let the people know where they can find you and your stuff, sir.
Yes, you can find me on all your favorite social media platforms inside BJJ. We just did an episode number 402 with a good friend of mine, Joe Spinell. He's also an ER doctor. He's an amazing dude. He had some great advice, especially if your kids train jiu-jitsu. He had some real good stuff to say there. Check that out. Outside of that, man, 10th Planet Nashville. If you're out in Nashville, come see me. 10th Planet Stockton. If you're up in the Central Valley, please stop in and say hello. Thanks, Raph. It was good to see you again. That was a fun game, but man, that was hard. That was rough.
You know, I think what's going to happen is you've experienced it now, but Kevin is not. So I feel like this is going to be a fun game to play with him tomorrow, especially when we know he looks like this when he gets nervous. So I feel like I might have stumbled upon a very, very good thing to watch here. And speaking of a good thing to watch, it looks like they have already gotten their third finish here at the show. So things are working very fast for our friends over at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. Tim, I will talk to you off air in a second, but for right now, thank you very much for your work. I look forward to seeing you back on the show later this week, sir. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And ooh, what is this? What is this that's hanging out over with me? Look at this over here. Just so you're aware, we want to give a big, big shout out to our friends over at the Flying Avocado. We appreciate you for coming in. This is one of those great moments for us. We do appreciate you guys, and we hope that you get the opportunity to explore Flying Avocado Cat on X. You can check it out at Flying Avo Cats today if you like that sort of stuff. But for this, it's really a very interesting thing to be partnered up with us. They're also a big part of the Jiu Jitsu Overdose weekend. And for you, you can get to experience the whole ultimate fusion of cutting-edge technology and elite martial arts jiu-jitsu work. So if you like those things, and I think you like at least one of them, if you like technology too, this is all for you. But yes, Jiu Jitsu Overdose is especially proud to be sponsored by the Flying Avocado Cat, the cryptocurrency born in advanced AI innovation. So we are happy that they were able to sponsor us, and we wish them good things, and we wish you guys good things. But nonetheless, for right now, you guys, we're going to go ahead and call it a break for the show. When I see this, the show is all emoji fires right here. Apparently, it is off and kicking, so we appreciate that. But just so you guys know, we will be out and we will be back throughout the rest of the week to give you updates as to what's going on over at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. It has been a blast to chat with you guys for a little bit, but we will be back later this week. So if you're just tuning in right now, do us a solid, a like, a comment, a subscribe. All of those things help us out here at the show. And hopefully we get to see you guys back. And don't forget that tomorrow we will actually have people voting for the Running the Gauntlet Championships. And in case you were wondering how that goes, the Running the Gauntlet Championships, when that comes out tomorrow, because we're going to be going with the very first match, which is Alex Enriquez versus Alec Balding. That's going to be a tough match because they're both beloved by the community. And I'm intrigued to see who is beloved, perhaps just a little bit more. So super stoked for that. And yes, as a reminder, later this week, you'll be seeing interviews from some of the folks who are doing some great stuff for us out at Jiu Jitsu Overdose. So you don't want to go anywhere else for coverage. You only want to come to your friends here at the Bullpen, the Grappling Hour, inside BJJ. Those are the people who will give you the right coverage and give you all the news that is fit to print. Oh, this is actually a talk show, so I don't think that works. It was a different era. They could say that in like the 40s and 50s, right? Anyway, nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.